The Fitnessgram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. This test is used to measure a student's aerobic capacity as a part of the Fitnessgram assessment. Students run back and forth as many times as they can. Each lap is signaled by a beep sound. What
are you doing?
do you mean, what am I doing?
Eddie, what are you doing?
Light reading?
You know we have a podcast to record.
When?
Now.
Now.
You didn't notice the microphone in front of your face?
Hi, everyone. My name's Eddie with the Too Heavy Wrestling Podcast. I work here.
Zach, hit the intro. All right. Welcome, guys, to the Too Heavy Wrestling Podcast. Obviously, we have myself, Randy, we have Zach, and we have Eddie here. That was a little bit of good light reading for you. Eddie. Go ahead, Eddie. Yes.
Fitnessgram Pacer test.
It again. It's a one-time thing.
Not again.
I'm like PTSD war flashbacks from hearing that. I'm out of breath just thinking about it.
I don't even know what's going on anymore. I just came here to
Just came here to talk about wrestling.
What a fantastic week of wrestling.
Yeah,
you know?
I would agree. I think this week was definitely a good week for wrestling. Raw and SmackDown were really
Specifically, SmackDown was great. Can I just dive right into it, man? I'm just really excited.
As long as you're going to talk about the best part of SmackDown last night, which was Ronda Rousey returning, then yes, go ahead.
So, newsflash, that wasn't the best part. We got some soap opera type stuff going on in the WWE right now. And Jey Uso came back. Jey Uso's back, man. Yep. And honestly, there was a certain part. He came back, retained the titles. Yeah, they're the best. They're the ones. We understand that. We know that. Our tribal chief was watching probably. But Sammy and Jay's little reunion, that tugged at the heartstrings.
Nice. That was really good. The whole
it was wholesome.
Thing with the fists, that was cool.
Until Jay stabs him in the back at Elimination Chamber, they're still the ones.
I think that we're seeing a really cool dynamic between Jay and Sammy.
Yeah, and we kind of confirmed that they're probably not going to Canada either.
Really? You think so?
I don't think so.
Is SmackDown also in Canada?
SmackDown
okay,
then
yeah, then probably because Paul Heyman told him to stay home.
That was what I was going to say. He was like, you might want to stay home and watch on TV because you see things that you don't see being here live. That was
really cool because that was one of the things that, like, when I was a kid, I always, like, not hated, but I always thought about. I'm like, well, how do they not know what happens by the next week? Do they not go back and watch and, like, check things out? But, like, now they're starting to actually talk about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had such a fun time just watching all of that. I didn't even catch the full Friday night SmackDown show. I watched just the reels that were on YouTube, and all of that, it's all I needed to, like, kind of get back into it.
The only thing that I thought was weird was Jey Uso coming in through the crowd versus just having an entrance. Like, I get it.
It makes sense, the fact that he walked out and that he's not, maybe he wasn't going to be there, and he showed up at the last second, so he's just coming through the crowd.
Did he have to buy a ticket to get in?
Was he maybe that's what it was. Maybe the entirety of the match was just the security being terrible at their job.
You think Adam Pearce would have ran out or something?
If he was, like, suspended or something. But you don't get suspended from SmackDown just for not being in the bloodline.
Walking out on your family. You're fired
this
now.
This is a business.
Roman has more power than Vince McMahon has ever had. Business. Just by being the one.
By being the
tribal chief.
That's a bold statement. I don't know that I would agree with that, but
I completely agree with that.
I would hope so. You said it.
He should be running the show. Why isn't he running the show?
He is.
No, he's not.
He booked himself to be the champ.
And he's going to be champ past Mania.
I hope he's champ past Mania.
You want Sammy to be champ.
Yes, I do. I want Sammy to be champ. I want him to take a title. He can beat Cody. I don't care.
Don't
leave that alone. No, he can be Cody all he wants.
Well, before we get to Cody and WrestleMania, we do have to get through the Elimination Chamber first. So we have 4 official matches according to the roster that I've pulled up here, with a 5th one that has a contract signing for. So first match we have is the Men's Elimination Chamber with the United States title. Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. I think I'm most excited about Montez Ford being in that match.
God, he won that match, man. Don't, like, no offense to Elias, but, like, if he would have won that match against Montez, I would have been so upset, because one of the Street Profits, if not both of them, should have been in it. Of course, Montez is going to get pushed more just because the athletic ability is quite possibly one of the best we've ever seen in the ring. So him being added to that match and hopefully getting a little bit of a singles push is going to be pretty beneficial
the Elimination
for them and their
Chamber
team.
is one of those perfect times to let someone shine without pushing them too hard, because he could go on a tear, eliminate 2 or maybe even 3 people, and then get taken out. And, like, you know, he'll have 2 or 3 pins or wins, but not win the overall match. Like, you can come out of the match.
Did you see the
strong.
promo after it?
No,
after
I probably
Montez's
saw it.
win?
I just don't remember it. What?
So of course, Dawkins lost,
Right.
but Montez was singing to him, saying, "I'll always have your back."
Oh, that's funny.
And he's straight face mugging, like,
Just not having a good time.
I think they're done.
You think so? You think that's their split?
I think everyone thought that Montez was going to turn, but I think it's going to be Angelo.
It would make more sense for Angelo, because then you have a lot more, like, you have a lot more pull for Montez Ford if he's the one who gets turned on, because then you want him to come out on top, and then he does come out on top, and then
It would make me mad though. They're just one of the one of the actual genuine tag teams left in the division, so I don't want to see them split, but they keep teasing it, so I don't know what they're going to do.
yeah.
So well, of course, I want them to join. I am still on that track, but I thought of something too just after watching Raw the past couple weeks. This has to do with the past couple, not just this show. Are we supposed to look at MVP as a face or a heel?
That entire thing is like a tweener right now. I don't really know what's MVP kind of, because you had MVP with Shelton and Cedric, and they were the heel tag team against the Alpha Academy. My bad. The Alpha Academy, because they're kind of faces now. But then you also had him, not necessarily had him with Bobby Lashley, but you have him like going in and out of Bobby Lashley's business, and Bobby Lashley up until Monday really was kind of more of a face about it. But right now, the way that the promos go, Brock feels like the face and Bobby feels.
But and you see MVP in the background with Cedric and Shelton. They're still showing him back there, but
well, those 3 are like,
is the payoff at Elimination Chamber, or is it, you know, something?
Well,
line?
They had a match, they had a victory with MVP in their corner. I think at this point it's safe to say those 3, no matter what else happens, are like together. Like I don't think that's a secret anymore. Whether or not they get Bobby too, and Omos.
Yeah.
Okay, Omos with MVP is a heel
For sure.
Bobby with MVP has been a face. Like after their little confrontation with Austin Theory, he was talking, then MVP let Bobby Lashley unleash hell, essentially.
I think it's anyone who opposes who aligns with them, just like it's a heel tactic, but like if you're going to line up with us, we're not going to come after you and beat you down.
It's 50.
It was until Theory got like in MVP's face that he wasn't going to do anything.
I don't want to say it's 50-50 booking yet, but it's starting to feel like maybe they can't decide what to with the Hurt Business in general.
We'll probably just have to see.
A great team. I think there are a lot of people who would be able to benefit in the Hurt. I'm not saying like, hey, put everyone fairly, but the Street Profits, if you don't split them up, which hopefully this kind of leads to so they're a great tag team, just like the fact that they don't have titles around them, or they're not fighting for titles, just kind of makes their team right now.
Yeah.
Just on the
what does a
downward
tag team
spiral.
do if they're not going titles? Like,
right. And as cool as it is having undisputed tag team champions being the like, it's not as fun on one show not having someone fight for those titles.
I agree.
I think that's the argument for just titles in general in WWE right now, other than the mid-card belts, because those are the only ones being fought for. I mean, Gunther's not even getting matches at pay-per-views. He's being the defending on SmackDown champion.
I mean, he's the Intercontinental champion. That's kind of the workers' title, you know.
Right.
He'll kind of work that through. But as far as the United States title go, I mean, who leaves the chamber with the United States title?
Theory. I think it's the most realistic thing to do. If I were to say who do I want to win, which I don't think will happen, but hopefully he gets a singles title push soon.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think he will get his time because he's going to be showing his dominance through Raw. I mean, there's not too many people I could see beating him in the stature of the mid-card. But do I think he's going to win the title now? No, I think this is Theory's time to get to WrestleMania with the belt and maybe lose it there, but we'll just have to wait and see if he's going to get that Cena match or if it's going to be another, marquee United States Championship match.
And I think Theory's going to walk out of the chamber as the champion as well. The only thing I don't know is, will they use this to make him look strong and like he'll eliminate the last two people or something? Or is he literally going to come out last? There's only going to be two people besides him left. One of them pins him and he only has to defeat one person. Like, I don't know if they're going to go like, let's make him look strong, let's give him the push, or if they're going to be like slimy heel gets away again kind of.
Slimy heel gets away is kind of his type of vibe, so I feel like make it like that.
I truly get both vibes from him because you had like the Brock interference with the triple threat, so like Brock kind of decided Theory was going to leave with the title there, but at the same time, like when he has these one-on-one matches with like Seth Rollins and everything, he looks good, and so
he does.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I just think the ideal thing to do if they are going to match him up with John Cena, you have to have him going into the chamber, like high and mighty, winning it. Like, I think it's every elimination by one person, one or two, a slimy heel like tactic to get the win. High and mighty after the chamber, John Cena hits. Yeah. I think that's a good way to book it.
So you think Cena will be at chamber?
I think that'd be the most realistic, if not the night after.
I think the night after makes more sense only because I don't think the United States title Elimination Chamber will main event the pay-per-view. Like, I think Sami and Roman will. And I don't think John Cena coming out after a chamber match can be like in the middle of the show.
Right.
I think with the tactics we've gotten from Theory, though, in terms of the small John Cena like antics that he's thrown in, like his catchphrases and stuff, I think that's going to keep leading up till Mania. I'm still going to be on the running theory that, pun intended, that he will get to Mania and will have a open challenge like John Cena would have done in the past, and that's when John Cena would come out. I don't think we're getting a John Cena build-up for Mania.
Either one of those makes sense. I don't think
he's going to have a easy trip to Mania. I think we might even get a couple more U.S. title matches between Chamber and Mania, but it will ultimately lead to him having an open challenge because there's no one left to face, and that being the cue for him.
It'd be good. It would be really good to build him up that way too.
Are we I'm completely fine with Theory against Cena. There's nothing wrong with that, but he's one title away from winning Grand Slam, essentially,
John
right?
Cena is, yeah, he's only.
So if we're going to try to make him the greatest superstar of all time, and which is kind of what he has. I mean, he's tied with Ric Flair for world championships. Obviously, you're not going to throw him a world championship with Roman Reigns still being in that seat. Why not try to throw him an intercontinental or title match, or try to do something there? And I know Gunther would not be the ideal person to go through, because I feel like if they were going to match 2 up, Gunther would win. But I just feel like right now with the way hey, we have John Cena, he's willing to give us some time and take some time away from making. Why not better utilize him to I guess more pad his stats and put him overall just as the greatest champion we've ever had.
Do you think Cena's gonna win
against Gunther?
Against Theory.
Against
you
Theory,
think we're gonna have a summer of Cena or whatever where he has the U.S. belt and shows up and does.
I think could win it from Theory, but he would like, of course, someone would beat him for it and like better solidify that person or his challenger. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be a summer of Cena. I think like, hey, if you want to book it right, yeah, take him. Like, hey, take the title off of Theory, whatever it may be. Theory's still going to probably look great in the match that they do have if they do have that match. But I feel like just like better utilizing him and better utilizing the time you have with him would better solidify his stats and like his credentials by putting an Intercontinental title on and making him the Grand Slam champion, because he's the greatest champion of first century. Don't get mad at me, but he's probably the greatest world champion we've had of the 21st century, if not Roman Reigns. But like, just like, he's such like a big name, and he's done every single thing but this one title that will just like overall make his career that much. I guess it'll make it cooler, if that's a good way to put it. So why not have him feud for that IC title?
I was only going to say is that if Theory was to drop the title to him, it would really depend on how this Universal Championship match plays out, because I think he could get propelled towards Cody Rhodes if, you know, he drops the US title, because then it would be like, okay, I'm done with this. Let me start moving on to this. But I don't know. That's the part that I'm excited about, because if we get the belts off Roman, which I want and don't want at the same time, again, we're going to be back to a fighting champion, someone who's going to be there more often than not, potentially get a belt split, and we might just start seeing more talent in more places now.
I don't think John Cena is gonna beat Theory. What you're saying makes complete sense if you think that John Cena is gonna beat Theory. I just don't think he's gonna beat him. I think they're using this to push Theory.
No, and if I made it sound like I think if you do put Cena against Theory, I could see Theory winning, but I think like they're trying to make it look like Cena would win a little bit, even though Theory's doing his heel tactics, things like that. But I would rather have him I'd rather book him in a certain way than have him against Theory.
There's John Cena is here to push Theory. That makes sense. He's gonna lose at Mania, then that's fine. If the other theory is we have John Cena for 3 or 4 months, let's use him, then yeah, they should put the IC belt on him. The only problem is I don't want to see John Cena bury Gunther. Like, I just don't need that.
Oh, I'm
so
not.
That's why I think that it's this, because I just don't want this. You know what I mean?
And we could be looking into it a little bit too much anyway. Yeah. I mean, John Cena could come for that one match.
Well,
and that's
it. What I think. That's what I think it is. I think he's going to show up for the one match. Theory's going to go over on him. John Cena will probably do some really sad, because you could use this to set up like am I still John Cena? And he gets sad, and then we get like a renegade old cowboy, like, can he get one last run in him? And then John Cena like spends 3 or 4 months with the WWE next summer with a world title run or something. You know what I mean? Like, you could still have a fallout that makes sense of that. But right now, the way that I'm interpreting it, I just think we're going to get him for the one match. Theory is going to get pushed out of it.
Yeah, because if Theory didn't go into Mania with the U.S. Championship, other than Bobby winning it, which he wouldn't anyway because he's not in the match. I mean, there isn't any other match that makes sense. There isn't any other person who would win that would take the belt to Mania to have a match.
Not like the way the way that Theory is with John Cena.
Unless Rollins did win it and Logan Paul versus him was the U.S. Championship
or
match.
You have Montez Ford win it, and then you have him versus Dawkins.
That too. So actually, there is a little bit more than I thought.
Yeah.
There's like, of course, I don't want to see Gunther get buried in any sense of the way if he were to fight John Cena. I think the best way to kind of go about that is you have someone beat Gunther for the title, because I think Gunther at this point looks unbeatable for at least a little bit longer. I don't know if they do have this triple threat match that they're kind of teasing against Drew and against Sheamus, I still think he's going to walk out of that with the title. If I'm going to be
that match solidifies him being the new big guy. Just the fact that Sheamus and Drew were always the big towers when it came to it. So I think that would solidify his reign more. I just don't know if he leaves that match as champion, who does he verse that then takes the belt off of him?
That's a good question. And I think there are a lot of people who, like, we kind of forget about who would be, like, pretty good matchups for him. I mean, I'm not saying this is completely definite. But like, if there's one guy who's on the main roster right now who hasn't really gotten a shot, but also looks pretty unbeatable, who's the first name that pops into your guys' heads?
Dexter Loomis.
Dexter, okay. Yes, but not the guy who I was thinking of. What do you think?
I think I know where you're going. Is it Cross?
Not Cross.
Karrion Kross is
because
no, I don't want to say full blown buried, but Karrion Kross's character is very tarnished right
I'll go into the Fatal 4-Way match in a little bit too, because we got stuff to talk about there. But we have Solo Sikoa.
Yeah,
That's one guy who, like, I could see doing something like Bloodline tactics, maybe whatever it may be, going out of Mania. But I don't think Solo Sikoa is going to get his hands on that at the moment. But I just don't see, like, if we were to have anyone beat him, it'd probably be Drew. Like, he's the biggest matchup for him, like the most defined, like, overall wrestler. But like, Solo's great in what he does. Like, he is like the overpowered big man, the enforcer of the Bloodline. Put him in that, like, spotlight and have him go off against Gunther. Do something.
Well, and the cool part about if Gunther walks out of that alleged triple threat with the Intercontinental title, is that's 2 former multi-time world champions. You know what I mean? That'll be a really good rub and push if he can come out of that match, especially if it's like he actually does the finish instead of like Sheamus brogue kicking Sheamus out of the ring. He could actually just beat one of them. I think that would be really
cool. I'm really glad we're disregarding the match that we're getting next week.
Oh, the tag team match or whatever?
No, the IC championship match next week.
Ooh, I don't even know. Gunther versus
Madcap Moss.
Let's dive into it, dude. Let's just do it. Let's get it over with.
Hold on. Before we do that, because we can swing back into SmackDown, let's swing back into the chamber.
Let's finish the chamber real quick. So we have that match, and then we have the other Elimination Chamber match for the number 1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship. We have Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, and now we know from the last couple weeks, Natalya and Carmella. So I guess Eddie called it. He said Carmella was.
Yeah, and it's looking at the chamber, it's easy to say that Nikki Cross is going to walk away and win.
Shut up. I hate you so much.
No, in all honesty, I think it's Asuka. I think you're making her look so overpowered right now. Raquel I would not.
That's my runner-up.
I think she's my runner-up too. Like, I could still see her winning, and I'm not going to be surprised if she wins it. But I just think Asuka looks too overpowered right now. You want to bring back this kind of figure to, like, kind of, I guess, wreak havoc in the WWE. And honestly, I think it could lead into Roman Reigns-esque type of title run if she does.
Yeah, because Asuka had that, like, record-breaking NXT run, right?
Right.
And she was very dominant. Even she was one of the people who was called up correctly, because her first loss after she got called up was at Mania against Charlotte. Like, that was, so she got a really good push coming out of NXT. So we're known for Asuka going on really streaks. I don't think it'll be quite 800 or 900. Like, I don't think, but I could see her going over a year if she gets it.
Definitely.
Do you think that this might be a sense of, like, WWE foreshadowing that they do, where, because, like, they just had that scene on Raw where Asuka was the lone person in the ring with all the challengers around her, make her look like she's the target. So, like, to the point, like, is she the person that will win?
She's at least the person who's going to get targeted. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I think that's a really good way to, like, tell us, at least as the fans, that this is the person we're looking for. It doesn't necessarily telegraph that she's going to win.
Yeah, because I have the honest belief that we could see Raquel too.
Yeah,
but the only thing is that they're playing off the fact that her and Liv are a tag team right now, and that they're probably going to end up turning at each other in the chamber. Yeah. One's probably going to pin the other and be like, "Yep, bye-bye."
Yeah, I could see.
Yep.
Honestly, everything else though, like Carmella, I expected her to win. Natalya, like, I guess I didn't see too much of her and Shayna and Ronda's little segment last night, but there's no way she can win in the situation. like with Raquel and Asuka being in the same match. Liv Morgan had a really good 2022, but like we're not going to see anything out of her. Nikki Cross is there. Other than that, yeah.
Well, and we're also forgetting the fact that on the night of the Chamber, either Natalia or Nikki Cross is going to get injured in the back, and they're going to need a replacement, and Nia Jax is going to be in the Elimination Chamber match. That's what's going to happen.
You could, or my theory still stands. Nikki Cross or Natalia gets injured, and who comes up to bat? Dominic Mysterio.
Dominic Mysterio is not going to win the Raw Women's Championship.
Okay, I do think Asuka and Raquel would both beat the hell out of him. I think anyone in that match would beat the hell out of him.
Pretty hard. But no, either Nikki or Natalia is going to get injured, and Nia Jax is going to enter the match, and she's gonna shoot.
Do you actually know
she's
what
gonna
happens?
shoot punch someone in the nose and break their nose, and the internet's gonna hate her again.
No, it's an angle where it looks like Nikki Cross is supposed to be taken out, but it's Dominic Mysterio on the floor, and Nikki Cross is going crazy, and she
I
comes
thought
out
your sentence was gonna end with "it's Angle," and I was like, Kurt Angle is not gonna be in this match.
We do have to look at it too. Like with having such a big power figure like Mommy.
Please don't.
Mommy wants Dominic to win.
Mommy wants Dommy.
Mommy wants Dommy to win the Elimination Chamber Wamby, and I think we may get there.
Oh, please don't. Please don't make that a thing.
No, Asuka's going to win. Final
Asuka's
prediction.
gonna win for sure.
Moving
All
on.
right, so we have Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn.
I want Sammy to win, obviously, but yeah, he's not going to win.
Yeah.
But I
There's
think
gonna be so many shenanigans in this match.
too much.
Yeah.
We're gonna
It's
get
not
Kevin
like it's
coming
a no
back.
DQ either.
Yeah, Kevin.
So,
We're gonna see something happen with Jay and Jimmy Uso. We're gonna see something happen with Kevin. I think this will be the match that leads to the tag team. I think that will be what they settle on. We're gonna get Kevin and Sammy taking one or both belts off of the Usos, and we'll be able to full steam ahead. Cody beating Roman for. I think that's what we're gonna do.
do you think it's one of those things where, like, the shenanigans happen, but it's more so that like Roman gets to slip out and like run away with Solo, while the Usos and Kevin and Sammy are like now like fussing in
Post
the ring.
match, like
I
Yeah.
could see Roman holding back Solo, helping them. That'd actually be like pretty good for the storyline too, because Roman obviously like probably ticked off at Jay because he wanted Solo and Jimmy to go find him.
Well, and it could be one of those things where Roman is initially trying to hold back both Solo and Jimmy.
Right.
Solo stays, but Jimmy doesn't listen. You know what I mean? And then Jimmy.
If Jimmy swerves and like somehow goes on Sammy's side, I don't think will happen, but that'd make me so happy if that did happen.
Just where would it go after that though?
Yeah.
Um,
But overall, we think Roman Reigns is going to beat Sami Zayn. I don't want to spend too much
Roman,
time.
Right.
They have to.
We've talked about the bloodline a lot. And then the fourth match, probably the best match of the night, Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley for the Judgment Day.
this is the match I've been waiting
Yeah,
for.
this is
all
the match
year
we've been
long.
waiting for since.
We got the It couple versus the Grit couple last
Yeah.
year, and now
Now it's the Grit
Now-
couple versus the.
finally
Judgy Wudgy couple.
we're finally back to our roots.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
we're
happy
finally
for.
getting back to why the Judgment Day exists in the first place.
I mean, Beth Phoenix just looks overpowered
Oh,
in
yeah.
general.
She looks jacked right now.
You're on Raw? Jesus.
Dude,
Christ,
she
her
almost
arms.
threw Dom on accident.
And Mommy did nothing to help. Can Mommy get in there for Dommy, man? I'm just like, look, they're Grit couple, Beth Phoenix Edge. Did they just lose that name, by the way? Are they no longer
Yeah,
the
that was
Grit couple?
only when they were facing Miz and Maurice.
The It couple.
We're weird. Whatever. Fine. But, like, Beth Phoenix and Edge are probably going to win.
100%.
Finn's going to be pissed off that he lost and, like,
Just
attack
shoot
Edge the
punches
next
Rhea in
night.
the nose, breaks her nose.
Yeah. Do something. And then we're going to see
Finn versus Edge at Mania.
Finn versus Edge. We're going
Why?
to see the Glasgow smile and all that.
Why?
Like,
I don't need that.
is that what it's called? The Glasgow
What?
where you put the bar in between their mouths and like crossface them.
Something like that.
Yeah, I
I, don't
think
know.
so.
I just don't need that match. I don't need to see Edge versus. I know it'll probably be the most logical conclusion. Judgment Day and Edge.
People say it's going to be the return of Demon.
the Demon Finn Balor.
I want the
But
demon.
instead of red, it's
Judgment Day
purple for the
Demon.
Judgment Day. Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah.
Still, I don't.
I've been done with this because I feel like it should have ended probably like I don't know what pay-per-view it should have ended.
Probably, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Elimination
SummerSlam.
Chamber. It should end at the Elimination Chamber, and then we're gonna go that one extra step of having the match.
Yeah.
Paycheck.
Whatever.
I feel like Edge comes back from injury.
That's because Edge gets it.
I know. So like every time he comes like at the Royal Rumble, like, like
Yeah.
I'm like the first time we saw him come back at the Rumble, God tier, like perfect.
Oh yeah.
Second time we saw him
Since
come
he's
back at the Rumble.
returned, he's had 3 returns, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
So.
I
All
don't
right,
know.
well, that kind of takes us through the Elimination Chamber, and we were going to do something a little bit different this episode. Zach wanted us to take us on a specific direction, and
Yeah.
what did you want to? Oh, sorry.
Hold your
Oh, did you want to
horses.
go back and talk about the Fatal 4-Way?
I want to talk about stupid Madcap Moss for a
Alright,
minute.
Fine.
Nothing about him
Fine.
stupid.
We'll talk-
I'm joking about that. He could beat me up. I
We'll talk
understand
about
that.
the Fatal 4-Way on SmackDown.
But having him beat 3 people who should have gotten the shot over him.
Yeah, they're giving him the push, man. I don't.
He pinned Ray
Yeah,
too.
good for him. You know, Madcap Moss was so last year during the Royal Rumble when I was going off about Rick Boogs, Madcap Moss was the second person. So what I'm talking about is last year when we went to the Royal Rumble, it's widely regarded as one of the worst Rumbles, and I agree. But the
We were
2022 Rumble, we were there in person. The reason why it was one of the worst Rumbles for me is because I had no clue who was in the match half the time, and I got really stuck on Rick Boogs and Madcap Moss because it's like, what?
Rick
Boogs. Yeah, like I don't know. I didn't know who they were. I still kind of don't know who they are. Like, and Madcap.
I can give you my NXT rundown
You
if you
can
want.
save it for your TikTok fans. I don't need it.
Don't be weird, dude. You're
I
being
don't
weird
need
again.
it. Madcap, wasn't he Riddick Moss first, or is that a video game?
He was Riddick Moss.
Yeah,
He
Riddick
was.
Moss,
Yep.
and then he was Madcap Moss, and then he was Baron Corbin, whatever. I don't care. That guy sucks. I'll catch heat for.
Karrion should have won, in my opinion, even though everyone doesn't like Karrion Kross. I like Karrion
What is
Kross.
that about? Why were people so excited to see Karrion Kross return and just almost about to get banned?
Because they wanted him to overpower Drew.
and he's still
And-
on the Ray thing. His promo before the Fatal 4-Way was how he was going to destroy Ray again. I'm like, you're not in a feud anymore. That should have been done.
I just think, look, Santos Escobar, you guys may not know too much about him. I got to watch a lot of NXT. Very good wrestler. Also in Lucha Underground. I'm blanking on his. He had really good feuds in Puma or Ricochet. So, like, he is a really, really good wrestler that needs to get pushed properly, which Triple H did in NXT with the Cruiserweight title. Made the Cruiserweight title kind of relevant, and then it just went away forever, disappeared, whatever. But, like, putting him on the main roster, I thought, and against bigger guys, too, like, having him get to the World Cup final, I thought was pretty cool, and they kind of got to show people how good of a wrestler he was. But I think putting him in a matchup against Karrion Kross, it's like, well, we already know he ain't gonna win. And Rey Mysterio already know. Like, the two guys who should have won, like, or could have won, being Rey Mysterio or Karrion Kross. One of them got pinned, and the other one just got overpowered by the way smaller
Well,
guy.
And
outside the ring.
it's Santos Escobar, right? He's part of that Guillermo
Right.
del Toro group. What's it called? What's it called?
What's up?
What did you just say?
Legado
That
del
one.
Fantasma.
Yeah, he's part of that group. Where were they at during this whole match? Did they not do the whole interference group thing?
No, they're not doing that, even though Zelina Vega.
She was
Pretty
there.
good
I saw
for that.
her. Yeah.
They had a cool video after the fact, though, with Santos and Ray, where they traded masks with each other because they did for each other in Lucha Underground.
Right.
So they played off the fact that Santos brings up that he wants to take Rey Mysterio's legacy. And by having this match with Ray, he gained more respect for him as a Lucha. And they traded masks with each other, which I thought was pretty.
I think that's pretty cool. Like, we still have Madcap Moss.
Yeah,
number one
I know.
contender
I'm,
for the
I'm trying
Intercontinental
my
title.
best not to bring it
Yeah,
up.
I don't.
That's
I'd
why I
even
said
rather-
disregard the
care.
dang match next
I'd rather
week.
have Rick Boogs win.
Me too.
if
At this
that tells
point,
you.
just because I at least know the name,
And Gunther just
Mow
freaking
through
chop him into
Just-
oblivion.
and then one for Emma, just to really
Oh my
shut it
God.
down.
Chop for Emma.
God. All right.
I don't even hate Emma. They just don't know how to book Emma. Why did they bring her back if they don't know how to book Emma?
No, she's Madcap Moss's girlfriend now.
Yeah, they're just gonna get
Yeah.
their bleep kicked
I would
in.
rather watch Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Madcap Moss and Emma. If I'm being honest.
The grit
The
couple.
Great Couple versus the Who.
Yes.
The
The
Who
Mad
couple?
Cappy Bossy.
The
couple.
Cappy Wappies.
Yeah.
Gross. All right. Well, there you go, Eddie. You got to talk about your Madcap Moss.
All
right.
right,
So
yeah.
Enough of
Zach,
that.
take us through what you wanted to do for this episode for the.
Well, so of course we started the podcast. We're now on this will be our 5th episode of it, but we kind of just jumped in. We never really. You holding the
Yeah,
5
bro.
call? Or is this the 5
5
call?
times we've done this now.
Yeah, but we never really got to talk about ourselves and what our wrestling fan journey has been, so I wanted to kind of get a little bit more of a deep dive into who
It's
we
like
are.
our Why You Should
and
Listen to Us episode.
I guess, yeah. I mean, at least understand who we are and why we like wrestling and why you should even listen to us in the first place.
All right. Well, who wants you're in charge.
No, you're the host.
All right.
You want the stupid opinion out of the way first? Is that
We
what
can
you
do
want?
stupid opinions. Hey, here, let's do this. How about instead of like, we'll add some structure to this. We're all gonna go through and name one wrestling hot take. It can be a stupid opinion if you want, but what's your hot take on wrestling?
My hot take on wrestling. I'm not gonna like
That's
it.
why it's a hot take.
I think CM Punk, Straight Edge Society CM Punk, is one of the greatest heels in professional wrestling history. If he had the proper platform,
Like the
it would've been
mask?
better.
Like when he wore
Not
the
the
mask?
not the
After they
mask.
shaved his head?
The cutting everybody's hair,
Okay.
CM Punk.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Punk we
Yeah.
trust, dude.
All right. That's a good hot take.
Oh,
That's a great
What's
hot
yours?
take.
I don't even know. Like, I didn't even have like a hot take of wrestling. Randy Orton's first theme is better than his current one.
Ah, ew. The burn in my light?
Yes.
That is
That was
a
a good
good
one.
Okay, I will admit, for character reasons, it's
Right.
not.
You just think it's the better
His current
song?
one- It's the better song, and I miss that version of Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I miss Legend,
Legend
Killer, Randy Orton.
was really.
I need one more. For Raw 30, I wish we could at least got that.
Yeah.
But
We
he's
had
injured.
another version of Legend Killer go too well. He was just punting Ric Flair with the lights turned off.
Yeah.
Christian, I don't know how that
He
one
went through a table.
and Okay, well, Big
That's my hot
Show.
take, whatever. What's yours, Randy?
Mine was
I don't
actually
know.
a hot
My
take.
hot take is a little hot. I got to think
Tell
about
us.
it because there's a couple that I got to decide on. I asked the question without being ready.
Randy wants to kiss.
If you want to watch my wrestlers you love to hate TikTok, you will see I also said CM Punk in there. I did hate CM Punk, but I think he's one of the best heels.
Yeah. All right.
Go
So
on.
I think
Good, he didn't hear what I
didn't hear
said.
you said. They'll hear it on the episode. I think one of my wrestling hot takes is definitely I really hate the way that the Hall of Fame was done. I hate that they use the WWE Hall of Fame as a wrestling Hall of Fame, and because of that, there's a lot of people that don't belong in it, like Sting.
Not a hot take. People agree
Just said
with
Sting doesn't belong in the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
you. Okay, well,
Yeah,
that may.
he doesn't belong in the WWE Hall of Fame.
You see, you didn't say it
Yeah.
like that. He does not belong in the WWE
Yeah.
Hall of
He
Fame.
belongs in the wrestling.
Yeah,
Hall.
Yeah.
like
he
I
doesn't
like
belong in
it's
WWE.
like
I don't consider that a hot take because it makes sense.
whatever, dude. It was the hottest I can come up with without pissing off a lot.
Yeah, I mean the only thing you can kind of argue with that is that because WCW became a WWE
Like entity
thing, it's a WWE product at
Yeah.
that point.
I don't know. I just
So-
there's my real hot take is that I don't think Rey Mysterio is worth a lick of salt. Like I think Rey Mysterio has been overrated for almost his entire career.
I think you just said that to say that.
No, there's a lot of people that if you know me, like I've had that opinion for a long time.
Who do I
I've never
think?
heard you say that once.
I've never heard you say that
Greg
once
and James
either.
will back me up in the comments. I've said that for a very long time. Actually,
Right, Greg.
you know who else I said that about? I said that about Jeff Hardy too. Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy does not actually, that's my hot take.
Your brother.
That's
says
my
that
hot
too.
take. Jeff
Or he
Hardy
said
does
that,
not deserve the singles run that he got in like 2009. I'm sorry.
For those of you who know, Jeff Hardy is my favorite wrestler.
Yeah. Jeff
So-
Hardy does not deserve.
I'm in the middle of this.
Jeff Hardy does not deserve the single run that he got. There you go.
Jeff Hardy.
I need to ask you a
What's up?
question. For the Rey Mysterio part, do you believe he only got his push because Eddie died?
100%. That's the only reason he won the Rumble and then won the heavyweight title. Like, there's a reason why he hasn't gotten it back since, other than that one night when CM Punk and
Is that the culmination of his career? Is that he had a one-night title run?
Sure, whatever.
And then never got to it again? And now he's in the
He's
mid-card?
been in the whatever.
I'm trying to think another hot take. I feel like I got a lot, but I'm
Well, you can think about it, and if you want to say it, you can. But we'll move on to something else. What else do you want to know about it, Zach? What do you think the fans want to hear?
Well, you kind of had a video about it already. Your match that you bring everybody into.
Yeah, how do you
wrestling with.
introduce people to wrestling? What's your go-to match?
But I want to ask you, what was your first WWE pay-per-view?
My first WWE pay-per-view was not WrestleMania 20. I talk about WrestleMania 20 a lot, but it was actually Survivor Series 2003, the one before it. So
this is what you went to?
no, this was just
No,
okay.
the first
Your
pay-per-view
one
I've
you
ever
watched.
seen, at least that I
Okay.
can remember. I don't know if I saw anything before it. I've seen pay-per-views from before it, but this is the first one I remember watching like live. It was Survivor Series 2003, and it was Stone Cold versus Eric Bischoff while they were doing the whole co-GM thing. It was Kane and Kane versus Shane McMahon in an ambulance
What a
match.
great pay-per-view. I actually like
Yeah,
that pay-per-view.
and it was Mr. McMahon versus The Undertaker in a buried alive match, and that set up the Kane versus Undertaker WrestleMania 20 match. Like, that's Survivor Series 2003 is my first pay-per-view.
That's a good first pay-per-view.
Yeah.
My first was blank. I think Tabo Tuesday 2005. I remember like kind of scrolling through TV and like watching, and I'm like, this voting, like the voting system's really cool. I played SmackDown versus Raw, the video games, before I even started watching or knowing about.
I
TV
remember you
shows.
talking about that before. You started with wrestling with the video games, which is pretty unique.
Yes.
I don't know a lot of people that
Mhm.
have done that.
And it was SmackDown versus Raw 2006. I got the game, and then Tabo Tuesday was coming up, I believe, or like Tabo Tuesday just
Are
happened.
you saying
and
Tabo?
Taboo.
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 Yeah, taboo, 2 O's.
That's how Eric Bischoff used Tabo Tuesday.
All right, that's fine. You said it.
I
You said
listened to
it
him
more
dude.
than once, and I was like, all right.
Okay. Well, I liked the voting system that they had. I caught Raw. The first wrestler that I liked but ended up not liking because I found out I'm not supposed to like him was Carlito.
I've heard you
But,
talk
like-
fondly about Carlito before.
I love Carlito so much.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a good wrestler and should have had he's okay. I didn't think he was world title material. I think he's a really good mid-card wrestler.
Yeah.
But like he had great matches against Shelton Benjamin.
Was that time that you're talking about after his feud with John Cena already and the nightclub accident? Do you know what I'm talking about?
That was in 2000.
So that was before then. Okay,
That was
yeah.
before.
That was a really good storyline. I love the
Mhm.
Carlito
This
John
was-
Cena thing.
This was, I think, John Cena like kind of feuding with Kurt Angle, and he's being managed by Devar. But like going into it, they got to vote between Kane, Big Show, and Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels won. Kane, Big Show get paired up to fight Cade and Murdoch, and then they become tag
For
team
Taboo
champions.
Tuesdays, is that what you're talking about?
I'm also the bearer of pointless facts about the WWE. Like you probably would not have known
I
that.
wouldn't have remembered that, but
I can tell you the United States, all of the United States champions in 2008. I can tell you the WWE tag team champions in like 2007, 2008, just like pointless
yeah.
stuff. But more on topic, that kind of led into Survivor Series 2005, which is one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time for the Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
Because that was a really, really good match, and I liked the brawls that happened leading up to the match. It was all of SmackDown, all of Raw, as opposed to just like the little teams that they had. It was like complete like brand brawls on Raw and SmackDown, and I thought that was really kind of got me involved with it. And just 2005, 2006 WWE, kind of my favorite era of WWE, because you got Triple H without a world title, but still like the dirtiest player in the game
The
type
cerebral
deal. Which,
assassin.
I had
Yeah.
the most vivid memories from that time because, and I'll let you finish your comment
Right.
about your what you're saying there, but that's gonna lead into mine whenever I talk about it.
And Jeff Hardy was not in this, but this was like pre Jeff Hardy. He came back like late 2000s.
Yeah, he was still doing his TNA thing at the time.
Right.
Yep.
And I think just after that, like we got Armageddon 2005. That led to an Undertaker Randy Orton match. Awesome. Loved that. And I just think, and I remember a lot about the crew from that time, which like you may think, why? But like you had a really stacked cruiserweight division, but because it's the cruiserweight division, they weren't pushed that well. So like you had Super Crazy, you had Psychosis.
We still had the cruiserweight title at that time, didn't we? With like Chavo and
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
Jamie
Yeah.
Noble.
Not Chavo.
Chavo spent a lot of time.
Chavo,
as cruiserweight.
right, but like
Is that already
Chavo
passed?
kind of
Oh,
retired.
okay.
Yeah, he wasn't doing as much. That was after Eddie passed.
Right. But that's probably my favorite, and that led into what we have now. So that's how I fell in love with it.
So what was your pay-per-view?
So I was a big family video kid, so I had a lot of watching pay-per-views before I got to watch my first live one. But I remember it vividly. It was WrestleMania 22.
That was your first live one?
Yeah. So of course I remember watching the Raws and SmackDowns and the Saturday night main events up to that pay-per-view because they brought it back for that WrestleMania. And just like everything Eddie said, that 2005 to 2006 era of wrestling back then was where I mean, I was a kid at the time, and I was probably the most glued just because we had the people that we miss now, you know. But, and I was a big Rey Mysterio fan back then, but you know, we got the culmination of that. I was a big Kurt Angle and Randy Orton fan. He had my favorite theme song back then still. You know, because we still had Kane and Big Show as a tag team back then.
What a time. What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Kane just floundering.
I don't know. It was just, they had the big stage. It was the big time. You know, that was the time I was the most glued to wrestling, and I feel better than ever about it now because we're old enough to kind of just sit and have conversations about it. But that was mine. That was my first
Can I tell you
experience.
a secret? I have no clue what happens during WrestleMania 21, 22, and 23. I don't know.
Was that your
WrestleMania
gap?
22 was
That
my favorite.
those
Was that your gap?
It's not even I was watching wrestling at the time. But there, for some reason, I just don't know if I was not able to watch those as a kid or something. But like, my WrestleMania goes from like 1 through 20, and then 24 and on. Those 3 years, 20. I've never taken the time to just go back and watch them. I know of like random matches. Couldn't tell you which one they take place on. Like, I know John Cena and Shawn Michaels have a WWE title match at some point. I know Undertaker versus Edge takes place at some point. I don't know which ones those take place on. Are you gonna tell me which ones?
Shawn Michaels and John Cena WrestleMania.
Shawn was Taker and Edge.
Was it the same
No,
one?
24.
Oh, was it 24?
Yeah, and Undertaker and Edge won title at a May SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but I thought of another hot take.
Okay, go ahead.
I think Shawn Michaels should have retired after his big world heavyweight title feud.
Oh, you didn't like the late DX run and then the Undertaker matches?
Even though we got some of his best matches, I thought, like, honestly, you know, you can't win a world title at that point if you're having all of these. You keep getting match after match after match. Retire.
Well, you know why Shawn didn't get world titles after that, right? He was turning them down. Shawn didn't want to be champion.
And retire.
Why? Wrestling.
I think you
wrestling is not always about championships. There are wrestlers
it's
and
not.
storylines that transcend
Tell
titles.
Cody that.
What?
Tell Cody that.
Whatever.
No, I'm
He
just kidding.
needs it. He doesn't have one.
I just think we got some, besides the matches with Taker, which were amazing.
Right.
Not saying they weren't
25 and
amazing.
25.
Yes. I think there wasn't much for him in that span besides the
Right, which lasted a really long time.
right.
Well, and that was like WrestleMania 22. You had the match against Vince.
Yeah.
And that was a really
Also
good
great match. Liked that match.
But I will always cherish that later DX run with
So in that
Triple
same
H
vein,
when,
then, are
like,
you saying
the Spirit Squad?
in that same vein,
and
then
all
are
that?
you saying that Edge shouldn't be doing what he's doing right now? Because that's kind of the exact same.
Elaborate.
Thing.
Honestly,
He recognizes the twilight of his career and that he doesn't need to continue to get world titles to be relevant. So he wrestles the matches that he wants to wrestle.
I think there's certain like ways of looking at it because Edge is having relevant matches, more relevant matches in my opinion. Like Shawn Michaels have some like good matches, but pointless matches, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know what, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like you'd be able to correct me a little. Tell me what the WrestleMania, I think 21 match between Kurt Angle did for him. It was a phenomenal match. But
One of my favorite matches.
it was nothing wrong, but what did it do for his?
I don't think it was meant to.
It's not about his. It's,
did it do
it's
for
not
either of
about
their
his
career?
career anymore. It's about
What did it do for
he
Kurt's
put
career?
Kurt over.
Kurt was already
Doesn't
over.
mean he can't get further over. Like the thing about late stage careers like that is it's about giving back to the like it
They
stops.
never had a one-on-one match.
Yeah,
before
it
that
stops
either.
becoming about your career and it starts becoming about what you can give back to the industry and who you can put over. And that's why you saw like a lot of DX giving the rub to those tag teams that needed it at the time.
And I'm not saying, like, again, I think Shawn Michaels did a lot for pointless matches that were really good. Like, after Shawn Michaels put Kurt Angle over that instant, Kurt Angle could have gone for another world title, in my opinion. But instead, he was putting his gold medal on the line every week. He ended up losing to Gene. Did you know
I
that?
did know.
So, like, I thought it was because I'm like, you just had this insane match and Kurt Angle isn't going for a world title. What are you doing?
That sounds like it was
Type
useless
of
for
vibes.
Kurt Angle, not for Shawn.
I'll add to the hot take. I think the most pointless part of what you're saying is the Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels.
That was after the point I was talking about, though, because I did think that was pointless.
What?
What?
You think the Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho feud was pointless? You don't think that was amazing
So wait,
storytelling?
hold on. World heavyweight or like 2003?
Or after,
Either one.
No, I
the
think
2000
so. This is my
The
point.
WrestleMania
This is
19 match?
the point.
No, not that.
no, not the WrestleMania 19 match, but
No.
that's what
Oh
I
my
was talking
God.
The
about.
one where Shawn went
Oh,
blind.
the one where he got thrown through the Geritron 3000?
Yes.
That was still
This is-
great. The 2005
Let me-
feud?
So Chris Jericho got put over so well and had a great world title run. I'm not saying like there are certain instances where I thought, okay, maybe I don't want to see Shawn Michaels wrestle this. I think someone else wrestled this type deal. And I'm not saying Shawn Michaels didn't give us really good matches, really things like that. But like there are certain instances where like, oh, Shawn Michaels is going to be hired by JBL.
That was a really
Type deal.
funny story.
It was a funny storyline, but it's pointless for his career. It didn't put JBL over. It didn't put him over. It just set him over to be like, okay, now I'm free for WrestleMania, guys. Don't
Look,
worry.
wrestling is filled with tons of storylines
Roast me in the
where
comments,
it's
by the way.
more about the story than it is about one person getting put over another, especially when you have a 2004 or 2005 Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle where they're both well-established 5, 6, 7-time WWE champions. Like, neither one of them needs to put the other over. They're just doing a good storyline to do a good storyline.
Take though.
Yeah, and I hate you for it.
That is an
So
actual hot
that was
take.
the revenge because Shawn Michaels is one of
And you
my-
want to know the funniest
What?
thing? I don't even believe that. I just wanted to tick
Yeah,
you off.
why? Because I said Rey Mysterio doesn't.
I saw the fire in your eyes when I
Yeah,
said that. I'm like, I'm going to
Shawn
continue with
Michaels is
this.
One of my top. Shawn Michaels made it into my Mount Rushmore.
No, I think Shawn Michaels,
Ooh, we
in
could
all
do that.
honesty,
we could end this. We could
Let's
we
make
could
our
end
Mount
this on
Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
This is the end right
Yeah.
here. What is your Mount Rushmore?
All right, so my Mount Rushmore has Ric Flair. It
Okay.
has Shawn Michaels. It has Hulk Hogan, just because it's Hulk Hogan. And
Brother?
then my fourth spot is a revolving door that I
No,
can't
no,
decide
doesn't work.
on.
No.
Because, well, it's
Stinky.
so I have a controversial one, and then I have one that's like, why? Like, no one cares about. My controversial one is Vince McMahon. For his,
Are we going wrestler or
is it okay, so is it wrestling or is it wrestling?
This is wrestling.
If it's wrestling,
This is
Mount-
wrestler.
If it's
Wrestler Mount
wrestler,
Rushmore.
then I put Bruno on there. Sam Martinez.
Is
Okay.
that a personal one though for you? Because you didn't really.
You can
get-
make it a personal
mean?
one. It is a personal. It's
Well,
a
I'm just
personal
saying,
question.
You didn't get much of the Bruno like.
No, but I recognize
Runs.
his contributions to what we have. If I did it personally, like if I didn't do it as like,
Yeah, I want
If
your
I did it,
personal one. I want like based off
if I
your
did it
watching
subjectively
history.
and not objectively, it would still be Shawn and Flair. It wouldn't be Hogan.
Yeah.
It would be like it would be Stone Cold, and then it would be
Mhm.
not The Rock. A lot of people want to put The Rock and Stone Cold together. It's Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, and I guess I don't know if I want to put Triple H there or not. Maybe yeah, I'll put Triple H there. Not the
Okay.
best Mount Rushmore, but
Mine is going to be Ric Flair. And just for the record, I was not alive during any of his world title runs. So this is based off me being able to go back and watch his matches and how like mesmerized I was by like him and Ricky.
what year were you born?
Him and Dustin. 99.
Because he had some
Yeah.
really late WCW world.
I don't think he had one.
I wasn't even born.
I wasn't alive to see them.
Okay.
Or like I did not see
Okay.
them, rather. Ric Flair. I am gonna put Hogan because I'm going based off what they did for wrestling.
Well, yeah, I did that with
More than
Bruno, and you
anything.
guys were like, "That's the bad dude,
But that's personally what I never said that.
He did.
Well, that's
that's-
what I'm saying.
that's personally what I
understand
think.
There's objective, which is what they've done for the
Yeah.
business, and there's subjective, which is what you think. What you
That is
in
what
your,
I'm-
in your watching history. Who was on your
Who's
Mount
the best?
Rushmore?
Like who do I think has the greatest skill in the ring? Type deal. Is that what you want me? Because
Yes.
I can kick Hulk Hogan out of there right now if I'm doing.
Yes.
Do your
That's
personal.
why he had him in the first one,
do
and
do
then
a personal one.
Ric Flair, Bret Hart. This is like so
It's-
tough if I'm
The
doing
fact
it
that
based
we
off
just
of that.
did it off the top of our heads instead of coming in prepared, that's what makes it tough. If we had time to think, we would probably have a better. Do you have your answer
All right.
already?
Stone Cold.
somewhat.
I'm putting Stone
Okay.
Cold on there because I do agree with that. I think wrestling wise, he's like a really good like middle sized
Right.
like. I think the last one that I'm gonna put up there, and I am gonna use someone a little newer, and for wrestling ability alone. Don't like you guys aren't gonna like it. I know you're
Go
not
ahead.
gonna like it. I'm gonna say Daniel Bryan.
Oh, that's a perfectly good Mount Rushmore. He's
Okay.
on a lot
I
of
thought- I
people's
thought
Mount
you would.
Rushmores. And
Yeah.
here's the deal: 5 years from now, when this entire bloodline thing goes away, I'm gonna kick off Triple H and put Roman Reigns on my Mount Rushmore. Like, of course, like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
But for the business, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Stone Cold.
for the business, yeah, that's
For the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, because there was a video I seen recently where it was like, "What's your gate
yeah.
like Mount Rushmore, and what's your like
Yeah.
wrestling Mount Rushmore?" Mine, if I had to say, I put Taker up there.
Taker's a really good one for character work.
I wouldn't put him.
Yeah, I probably
He's on mine. I'm only because I'm in that post 2005, for me. But it would be Taker, Triple H. I'm trying to think of who I'd put in the last two. I think controversially, which I think it's like only because he meant a lot to my watching growing up, but I would have to put CM Punk in there somewhere.
I would.
yeah.
Disregard what he's doing now, but he would
CM
have to
Punk
be in there
before
for me.
2020. Yeah.
Having was
Yeah.
having decent matches.
Yeah. And then, who would be my last one?
Melina.
Melina. Yeah.
No.
Charlotte.
I don't know, just on prominency of like my watching growing up, I would have to say like a Batista or Randy Orton.
Yeah, you see, that when you do it personally like that, and you start watching wrestling in 2005, like it just doesn't have a lot of the classics.
But that's your
Yeah.
lifetime, remember? So then mine would completely change if that was the case.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's
I'd have
and that's
to
the
kick Ric
thing,
Flair.
because I took the time to really.
If I did an appreciation of the business, I would have a completely different.
Yeah, well,
four.
the thing is, I took a lot of time over the last 15, 20 years to like go back and watch a lot of wrestling from before I was born and all that stuff. So like I could very easily take off Triple H and put like Dusty Rhodes or Ricky Steamboat on mine because I've
Yeah.
actually seen a lot of their work and I did
Right.
that. So for me, like it's my Rushmore will always be different from anyone else who watched during the time that I watched because I did the research, you know?
Yeah.
So
But yeah.
all right. Well, is there anything else? I think that pretty much sums up who we are. We'll do a lot more revealing stuff in TikToks and all that stuff.
Right.
Cool. Well, I think
No, I
that
think
I think
that's
that's everything that we needed to talk about today. So thanks for coming and joining us. Eddie, run us through the socials.
SoundCloud,
No.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and we're also on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple
Are we
Music.
actually on SoundCloud now?
No, we're
No.
not on SoundCloud. That was a
Okay.
joke, dude.
That's sound.
The Fitness Grand Pacer test is a.
All right. Well, all right. It's been Eddie. It's been Zach. It's been Randy. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure to check out our socials and keep an eye out for everything that we got going on next. Let us know in the comments what you guys have as far as Mount Rushmores go. Your first pay-per-view. I'm sure we'll split that off into TikTok so that we can have more in-depth discussions with you guys about that stuff. But until next time, we've been too heavy. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
I gave him the finger guns. Will you cut out the finger guns?